How's it going, everybody? Take a look. I got all my gear laid out. I've been meaning and promising to do this video for a little while here. I know a lot of people watch these videos and say, hey, I'd like to go demo a boat myself and, get started on some sort of project. And I'll support that. If you need anything, leave some comments, right? And maybe I can help you out in your journey. But let me tell you about some of the things that I use myself when I go about demoing a boat, because there are some major things that if you don't do correctly, you could really cause some harm. And that's why we're going to talk about this guy first. Some people, what they end up doing is they buy just you've seen them, right? Just a cheapo face mask. And when you're demoing out a boat, using just a regular face mask I'll just tell you straight up, is a terrible idea. You do not want the fiberglass, right? I mean, look at the tools. These things, that one was red, black, and you can see everything's covered in fiberglass dust. You don't want that on your face. It'll take forever to get it out, right? And you'll be scrubbing your face. It'll be itchy for days. So you want to have, and I've said this before, you want to have a full face mask. Got to. This one is made by MSA. If you got any questions on which version it is, or if you want a link to this mask, I'll send you a link. Just leave a comment in the comments field if you'd like to hear about it. They have different style filters. These are called P100 filters. They're good for things like pesticides and, kind of like what you see here for paint spraying and things like that. And they have a little pre-filter in here. This tends to get clogged up pretty quickly. So what I end up doing is just popping this plastic piece off and then dusting this out. I do clean this mask after every time I do any kind of sanding, right? So I bust out that sander. After 4 hours of sanding, this whole thing is white, just like the rest of the tools here. I mean, look, you can even see my packs of extra grinding wheels, right? Everything is, the discs are all coated. Look at that with it. So you definitely got to keep this clean. Like, this webbing will get full of fiberglass, and then the inside of the seal wheel, you can see kind of some residual fiberglass in there, but it's not enough to cause any kind of itchiness. But when I go to clean this, I'll take these filters off, set them somewhere, and then basically wash this whole mask. You can kind of see how everything's clean. And then before I put it on, I'll just go on the inside. You can see there's still some water in there. I'll clean that off. But full face mask. If you're thinking about demoing a boat, there is a series online right now of a guy in Texas demoing a boat. And if you got some questions, you want to see the link to it, I'll put it in the comments field. Just put a request in. I'll show you. He does the same thing, right, with a grinder, but he does it with just a regular face mask. His whole face is covered in fiberglass. I don't know how he did it, but I'll never do it, and I'll never recommend it either. So definitely, like, you want to get a good mask. I know MSA is a good one, and then 3M has some good full face masks as well. I actually have inserts in here as well. So if you wear glasses, you can get inserts. So I do have inserts for this one. Now, you've got also duct tape, and you probably saw in my prior episode that when I run these thicker nitrile gloves, these are 9mm, I'll tape the seams. The reason I do that is it keeps the fiberglass from kind of getting up into your arm. For the most part, this is one of the itchier parts that you'll get. So if you don't tape it, you'll end up running into that situation. Some people put talc. You've probably seen on some of my other videos, you can also put talc on it. So if you don't want to tape up your wrists here, you can put that. It's basically, after you get a haircut, it's the same material or chemical or whatever you want to call it, mineral, that you put on the back of your head after your head gets shaved. And as we're talking about it here, here's a Tyvek suit. Now, you don't necessarily, they're not sponsoring the video or anything, so you don't have to get them. But the reason I go with this specific type of suit is a few different things. Notice how it has these integrated boots on it. That keeps you from having to worry about fiberglass getting into your shoe and causing itchiness here. And it's all one, right? So that's another thing. And then if you notice, it also has the hood. So the hood, right, will go around here, and worst case, you have a little bit of fiberglass that gets in there. You can also buy, they sell a basically like a face covering that looks kind of like a ski mask that you put on underneath it. They do have that as well. And in the summertime, it gets super hot, but you know, ultimately this setup here is the way to go. Now, they do make a Tyvek suit that doesn't have the boots on it and that doesn't have the hood. If you do decide to go that route and get that kind of suit, just be aware that your neck and your hair are going to get covered in fiberglass. So you still may run into the same problem. So I'm going to tell you now, I won't get in the boat and start grinding if I don't have a hood on. Just not going to happen. This guy right here in the middle, this oscillating tool, that one gets up to, I want to say, like 90 decibels and higher. You got to have hearing protection on as well. So what I'll do is I'll run earplugs in there, and then I'll put my hearing protection over top of my hood, and that'll keep the noise down. So you definitely want to have really good hearing protection. Now, we kind of talked about this too. These are my nitrile gloves that I get. I've got a huge, I got 2 boxes of it, a huge amount of them, so I don't, you know, if I get a hole, I'll put another one on it. And what I like to do on top of that is, if I'm using the grinder for a long period of time, or this, your hands kind of get numb from the vibration. I found if you put some gloves, not only does it keep your nitrile gloves from lasting a little bit longer, it also helps with the vibration. So I do run those over top of these at some point. Let's talk about the, you know, disposable items that you'll go through basically a boatload of, right? And that's these discs. I use an 80 grit. You can get these from a multitude of different sources, but you can see I buy a bunch. This is just one stack. Normally I have another one on top of it. And you can see, look at this. If you put your thumb on this one, there's almost no grit on it anymore. And if you can see through the packaging here, you can see there is normally a good amount of grit on these things, and you'll go through them pretty quick. So you can see right there, right? And then here we are. So when you're doing your demo on your boat, you definitely want to make sure that you buy a bunch of these. I've got just, I don't know, probably like 20 of them, give or take. So that's definitely something that you're gonna need a lot of. These things as well, these little oscillating blades. You notice that these say bimetal. They make a version of these that are also made for wood as well. You don't want to get those. You want to get the ones that are labeled as bimetal. And you can see I think I bought, when I got these, I want to say I got 100 pack. With some of the thicker fiberglass, I go through, like no joke, I go through one of these probably almost every 3 minutes. And you probably saw in my other video, oh, here, actually take a look. I go through them so often, I don't even take the plastic off over here. I'll hit that button on the bottom and then put these in and just go, because you'd be surprised just getting that plastic off takes a lot of effort. You can cut yourself and all that jazz. So I don't even worry about it. Just run it on it. And then I think I talked a little bit about this. It's kind of what I used most oftenly now on this new boat, is this portable belt sander. Most people may not have seen it before, but it also shares same thing like an 80 grit. And then this is all my belts. So what I'll do when I'm in the boat, I'll have these laying around, these as well, and then a bunch of these. And I've got a extension cord where I can plug in all 3 of these at once. And I just have them sitting around the boat for, you know, when I need them, so I don't have to just keep unplugging everything. But this is pretty much it, right? Buy a bunch of these, and this isn't very expensive. You can buy off-brand grinders, oscillating blades. This one, I believe, I want to say was like 30 bucks. And yeah, so full disclosure here, because some of these tools are not designed to be run like literally for 4 hours straight, I have gone through multiple oscillating tools themselves, just because I literally will have this running in some cases for 4 hours straight. This one on my prior episode, I didn't demo the actual tool usage, but I had this one going for probably about 2 or 3 hours, just basically nonstop. The only time I'm stopping it is momentarily to change out the blade, which on these is, it's a little button right there on the side. I can swap a new belt on this thing in a matter of seconds, right? And then it flips back on. Same thing here, probably takes a few seconds. And then this is probably the longest one because you got to undo that guy. But I can have these things running for hours at times. So, you know, the duty cycle, are they designed to sit there and, you know, be nonstop grinding on fiberglass? Probably not. And take a look just by handling, right, some of this stuff. Just for the video, you can see how much fiberglass dust is on it. So definitely consider the, you know, the things that I've showed you here today, if you're going to think about, and I haven't discussed anything with footwear. You can see I just talk about the foot coverings, but you want to make sure you have some good boots as well. And this way your feet stay protected as well. So if you have any comments or, you know, questions or anything, feel free to put them in the comments field below. This is what I use every time I'm in the boat doing any kind of demo project at all. Definitely going to have these 3 items. These are my go-to. Lots of oscillating blades, lots of these, right? 80 grit standing wheels, belts as well, nitrile gloves, leather gloves, hearing protection, and then my full suit here. And then this is the most important one in some cases because it helps with keeping your lungs clean. So hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to hit me up and I will be more than happy to answer them. All right. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next episode, everybody. Have a good one. Take it easy.